Hi, welcome to Pixel Wankers. I am Tim.
I'm Mitch.
Scott.
And here we are again.
Is there like a subtitle to my name? Scott the Man Wood.
I thought we were doing Kitty Fiddler. It's only an inside joke of 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, boys, we've been out for a bit. I don't know if it's actually reflected that we've been out because we've been putting stuff out just about every week.
Hopefully.
Quit looking at me.
Scott.
Yes, we've been putting
Our
stuff
one
out.
fan is waiting anxiously to listen to the episode.
Mitch's
And I will
mom.
call exactly Mitch's mother, and she will complain.
Just a quick side note.
Yeah.
She has been mentioned in every single episode. And she says, every time I talk to her, she's like, "You mentioned me again." I'm like, "Yeah, it's like an ongoing thing."
I'm sorry you become part of the show. Dude, we should get a picture of your mom one day, and she can be right here on the green
We
screen.
need to like have her like. But yeah, so we should be posting every week. But if we don't, sorry about that. But yeah,
We're trying.
Mm.
We're trying. So this last week has been kind of busy. Mitch has been out of town. What were you doing?
There was a wanker at GDC.
There's many, but you were the biggest
I was the
wanker.
biggest one.
you should have gone there with like a camera, like straight from GDC, the Pixel Wankers, so we could like put that on the website.
Well, they
so
did have
we
a
were, like,
podcast
worldly.
there, and we listened to it on the way back, and I was like, "Oh, this kind of sucks." We
Yeah.
should have been at Pixel Wankers.
Definitely not
Yeah.
as good as Pixel Wankers.
Next
His
year we'll
mom was
get.
like, "That's right."
Yeah, next year we'll get invited.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Let's invite these wankers."
Like, they're
So,
gonna be here anyways.
What's GDC stand for?
It's Game Developers Conference. It's in San Francisco, and it's not in like the nice part of San Francisco. It's in the
So you're not
roughest-
hobnobbing with Google.
No, it's like right in the heart of like downtown, surrounded by urine-soaked alleys and homeless people.
So the nice
accosting
part
you.
of San Francisco.
Yeah, so the nice
okay.
part.
The
yeah.
Fuller House
Yeah.
part of San Francisco.
That's right.
So, like, getting to and from the convention kind of sucked because you're walking down the street. I literally saw a headless pigeon. And I was like, why does this pigeon not have a head?
What did the pigeon say?
Yeah.
Have you seen my head?
But it was
It's
like a
surrounded
clean...
by other pigeons in cloaks.
It was like a clean cut. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Then he looked
like,
over and he saw Donald Trump standing there.
Yeah. Chewing.
And Ozzy Osbourne giving him a nice approval.
It was a
So-
strange scene.
So there's some weirdos.
You should have used my brother goes down for conferences down in San Francisco, and they have a huge like Uber and like taxis that are easy to get a hold of. Like I know Uber's one of them, but you can
Lyft.
there's multiple like
Yeah,
Lyft
there's
and
also-
other
Yeah,
things.
there was
out there.
Lyft everywhere. They were right outside the convention, like handing out pamphlets and stuff.
Why don't you use them? Were they expensive?
I wasn't that far away. I was only 6 blocks away.
Plus, I want to go see pigeon heads.
Yeah, I
Pigeons
wanted to see
without
pigeon
heads.
heads. Wanted to find that pigeon's head.
Took all week. It wasn't there.
You're at the conference and you just see on someone's table a pigeon head. You're like, I think I know where that belongs.
So the convention itself was great. It was so cool. It was in the Moscone Center or whatever, and it's like a big convention hall, and then underneath there's a underground pathway that links the two.
They call it the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
They sure do.
Yeah, bootlegging games back and forth. Every who's who was there. There was a whole bunch of booths and stuff. PlayStation had a massive VR thing because that's where they announced it as well.
Oh yeah.
So they had a massive VR booth.
What's their thing called? It's not PlayStation VR.
PlayStation.
I thought it was like Morpheus or something.
Oh yeah, I think that was the working title or something,
Oh.
but I don't know. It might be the actual title.
Well,
I hate the names of the
Morpheus.
VR. Even Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
Oculus Rift sounds kind of So like they had a booth. Unreal had an amazing booth. Lumberyard was there, which was Amazon's game
Their
engine.
Game studio. Or
Yeah, their
They're
engine.
starting-
Really? I didn't know Amazon
Um,
had its own game studio.
Yeah, it's a game engine.
engine that they're building, but they are trying to get people to just start building studios with their engine.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, and because it's called Lumberyard, it all looked like it was made out of wood and like the tree stumps and everything, and then their giveaways were like a little carpenter's pencil, which I thought was quite
That's
clever.
cool.
And who else? I saw a whole bunch of studios just from countries. Like Germany had a booth, like a section, and Sweden had a booth.
The Germany booth, like
Yeah, the Bavarian. Like,
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was like just companies in Germany, and you go talk to them, and they were like, yeah, like
that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
That they
yeah,
didn't,
come
they
to
didn't get like
Germany.
their own like booths. Like they had.
Well, it was like a giant square, and then inside they had.
Well, it's like
Several.
when we went down to Kids Screen, they had like the UK area,
Mhm.
and the UK government will actually pay money for studios to come out, and they show them how to pitch their shows, and they show them how to do all
that's
that
a
stuff.
that's a good
So they
idea
have a big
actually.
area just for that. So
Yeah, they
Germany
had
does
a-
the same thing.
Yeah, they had Italy, Sweden, Norwegian, England,
Yeah.
and Scotland was separate. I guess they're still bitter over the referendum. I don't know.
They're just bitter in general.
Yeah.
I love Scots.
But it was really cool just to see these companies like that I wouldn't expect games companies to be at, and they were like, "Yeah, we're business is booming. Come and chat to us," and it was like, "That's awesome, dude!"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
And then on the other side they had all the indie alley, pretty much. It was like just everything like that's coming out in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Which was great because I was like, all these horror games that I've been watching recently, I was like, dude, and I was chatting to the guy and he's like, yeah, this is blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's awesome, Unity had a booth. And then after that, it was like little fiddly bits on the outside that no one really cared about. And then...
the poor guy going,
Yeah.
that was my little fiddly bit. You didn't
Well,
come to my booth.
it's funny
It's
to say that
actually
because
called
like
fiddly bits.
fiddly bits, yeah.
What are you doing back there?
They actually had like I read recently that someone was walking around with a T-shirt with BioWare's next game on it, but no one talked to the guy or even paid attention, so no one knew what the next game was,
Oh,
even though he
wow.
was walking around advertising it
Really?
because he was just like in the
Just a
background
normal
somewhere.
dude.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
And so but the thing that kind of sucked, I don't know, I only had the Joe Schmo pass, like they had an all singing all dancing pass for like $2,000 or something,
Yeah.
and that lets you into all the panels and all the talks and all the mixes and blah blah blah, and then the Expo pass just gets you into the event and a couple of panels, but it's nothing too special, and then it's mixes if you can make it, it's on a wait list type thing. And they also had so there was Microsoft and Nintendo there, but they were in like these weird little prefab offices, and they had a little reception desk in the front, and they were like, not if you've got an interview and blah, blah. So it's sort of like for the real big deals that were going down,
wow.
you go in and talk to them, but other than that, it's like
Did they have that
move along.
kid screen also, like a place
Yeah,
to?
they had like invite-only parties. The UK group again
Mhm.
had their own party, which was kind of neat that we got to go to because I was in the UK the week before. So it was like, hey, invite me to your thing.
Yeah.
So that was cool. There's a few private booths. I mean, there were some there's a whole bunch of tables set up that you would have to set meetings specifically. You were going to talk with different groups, and they were distributors or broadcasters or people that everybody there is trying to get a hold of. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
they didn't want them just everybody to walk up to, which was funny because they'd finish a meeting and they'd walk out of the room and you could just walk up to them anyways.
Yeah.
If they had a minute, you could sit there and pitch them and chat with them anyways.
Yeah.
But it's always
Um,
good to set up a meeting.
But yeah, so they had like a whole bunch. I missed out on the Crystal Dynamics mixer. And I was
Missed
really
out on the crystal meth.
Yeah, Crystal Meth.
Yeah, that's what they do.
I got that from the homeless guys, but
he
but
got
like
his own headless pigeon.
yeah, I was chasing the headless pigeon.
That pigeon must have owed someone money or something.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. My girlfriend got into the Blizzard mixer,
Oh, cool.
and so she was rubbing shoulders with some really cool people. And then I got into the not LucasArts, ILM
Oh,
Uh-huh.
mixer, which was really cool. I was just like, it was just come and stand by these people and chat.
Yeah.
And it was like, is this not monitored? And they were like, no, just come in. And I was like, cool, whatever, you know. So I got in there kind of in a weird way, and I met the cinematic animator from Blizzard in there as well. So it's sort of like me going to the Blizzard thing anyway.
Yeah.
Did you get his card?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's gonna email you.
Yeah. and the ILM people as well, because she was awesome as well. But yeah, so it was just a good event. Like the U had a booth for all their games, and our game was there. And I didn't really man it too much. I was hovering around, but you know, I wanted to go have a look around and stuff. And we did every booth.
Yeah.
Just sort of talking to people, and there's a lot of programmery sort of booths. There's a lot of people promoting software.
So what games did you get to play? Some early titles of games?
I did. Not too many because I was kind of busy, but I played a bit of Through the Woods, which is a Norwegian horror game.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like The Blair Witch, basically, as a video game, which is really awesome.
Just people snotting on you.
Well, no, it's in third person, but it's like you're in the woods. You're like it's camping, like gone wrong, you know.
That should be the
camping on wrong. It's actually just people trying to put up tents. Tent simulator. That's not a thing we need to make.
I know, right?
That is a fantastic thing. Camping gone wrong. It's just like, oh crap, we forgot the matches. Oh.
And then I saw a bit of Pamela, which is a new horror game. It's like a sci-fi.
Anderson? No.
Pamela
It is a
Anderson.
horror game.
It's a sci-fi game. You wake up on a space station, but it's gone to hell. It's a bit like BioShock, but in space. You know, it's kind of cool. I played a co-op game, Shadow Puppeteer, on the Wii U, where one of you plays as the shadow and one of you plays as the character, and so you move the light source and it will make a path for the shadow guy.
Yeah, that's kind of
And
cool.
you play as, it's 2-player.
Fun,
That's
yeah.
really fun. But then my big thing was I finally got some hands on some VR, because every booth was VR this year. This is
Actually, Mitch isn't even here.
yeah.
He's virtual. He's the virtual Mitch.
That seems to be like, just as a sort of quick summary, like that's where the industry's going, is VR. And I don't know if I'm fully on board yet, but
It's the new exciting thing.
It
What it
is.
is.
Yeah, I did have my mind blown by VR, but I'm not 100% sold that this is going to be me in my living room yet.
Yeah.
You know? But let me tell you so I went into the Unreal booth and it was fully booked all the way through, because they had a Star Wars VR, which everyone was like, lining out the door for.
Yeah.
I downloaded a Star Wars VR. It was just like photos that you could look at through like a VR.
No, this
thing.
is a game, dude.
This is like a full.
Yeah, so you put on the
immersive
headset
game.
and you have a lightsaber and you start swinging around.
So that's what I was
different
kind of
places.
hoping for, but yeah.
Yeah, because I could watch it on the TVs, but I couldn't get in there, and And then they had like a mountain climbing one and things like that. But I managed to get into. I was like, oh, bullet train, cool. I'll sit on a Japanese bullet train for a minute. No, it's like a full-on first-person shooter. It was awesome, dude. And it was like hardly.
Why would it be a guy sitting on a Japanese?
Well, I thought like
Mitch is like, this is really nice.
Yeah.
like some Japanese guy just like groping you or
Well,
something.
no, when you look
in
at
the train.
Well, all right. When you look at these titles, for these VR games, right? You got Star Wars VR, and I was like, okay, I know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got Mountain Climber, and I was like, okay, I can kind of guess what that is or
But
whatever.
it's just Japanese bullet train.
Yeah. And then you've got like you have to walk over a chasm on a rope bridge and stuff. Just simple stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, bullet train, I imagine you're just on a bullet train, and it's like, oh, you can pick up the trash and like just something like that. I was like,
simulator.
yeah.
Ooh.
I was my expectations were blown out the water. Like so.
But where's the trash pickup game?
I know, right? Yeah.
So what's bullet train about?
All right. So, well, first of all, I had two handsets. They had two analog sticks and a whole bunch of buttons on the face, and then
This is for PlayStation?
two sets of triggers. No, this was in the Unreal booth. So the game was made with Unreal, but I can't remember what it must have been an
was it
Oculus.
Vive?
It may have been a Vive. I don't think it was.
What was your hand?
So it was like a handle with two sets of triggers on each, analog sticks and buttons, and then you had a ring around it,
Okay.
around your wrist.
That
and
might
a
be an
strap.
Oculus.
Yeah.
type
It
of
may have
thing.
been an Oculus, because I don't think it was a Vive, because I've looked at the Vive and it has almost like a
Yeah.
remote, And I was like, oh, do you need me to take my glasses? And then, no, you can leave them on. And I was like, oh, cool. So you put it over your glasses if you have them, and they strap you all in and everything. And so first of all, I was like, I've always looked at it and been like, I'm not really, it's a bit too shaky. It's a bit too like, you got these virtual hands like doing this. It's a bit weird, right? But that's just the person using it. Because I was using it and I was like, these are my hands in 3D space. This is awesome,
You were groping people on the Japanese boat train.
Yeah, the bullet train, yeah. So one of the triggers is grip, and then the other one is shoot, basically.
Uh-huh.
And it starts off and it's like, hey, like you can pick up stuff, and it's like there's a can on the floor, and you pick up the can, and you can throw it and mess with it. And then the doors open, and you teleport is how you move around. So you move the analog stick forward, and it gives you a point to go to.
Yeah. And
you can pick a point. As soon as you let go, you walk there. But while you're picking that point, it's in slow motion as well. So I was warping through the train, and then it's like, here's a gun, pick up this gun. And it's like, oh, cool. And you can examine the gun and fire it and stuff, And then it's like, okay, the bad guys are incoming. Like, remember your training, here you go. And it's like, all right. And the guy was telling me, like, you got 2 hands, dude, use them. And I was like, all right. So I picked up 2 guns, and I was like, this is freaking cool, right? And then so the doors open, and there's a whole bunch of bad guys. So I go out guns blazing, and then it's weird to get your mind around it because there's no reticules or heads-up display. You just have to aim with the gun. And so I was all over the place to begin with, and I was like, oh yeah, you can teleport. So I started teleporting, and there's a grenade. So I pick up the grenade, and I didn't pull the pin. I just threw it, and it didn't blow up because I didn't pull the pin. So you got to get it there and actually pull the pin out, which is awesome.
That's cool.
Does it like lock onto things though? Like if you're in the vicinity, does it just like lock onto the pin? If you
it highlights yellow when it's in range. So
it'd be annoying to be like,
There was a couple of times where I would do this and it wouldn't register, and I'd do it again and then it would get it.
Yeah.
But it's only because I wasn't within range of the gun. And then I was like, oh, here's an assault rifle. That's awesome. Like with this hand and like shoot. And you can also grab the gun like with your free hand or hold another gun. So the shotgun you have to actually pump.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And so I'm like taking out all these guys, and they just keep flooding in, which is really cool. And then I was like, there's no reload. You just throw the gun away and pick up another one. So as you're shooting guys, they disintegrate, but their gun flies through the air. And because there's slow motion, you can hit the slow motion, grab the gun in midair, and carry on shooting, right? And I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then it's like, don't forget, you can slow down time and stop and deflect bullets. So you slow down time, and sure enough, the bullets come towards you, and you grab the bullets in air and throw them back. And
that's
so,
cool.
Yeah, so you're like, or you can do this and clear them out the way.
Yeah.
So you're in this train station. I was warping all around the place, and what was great is that one of my enemies didn't quite spawn right, so it gave me extra time to run around and play with the mechanics a bit more, and get used to it. And by the end of it, I was like, I don't want to leave. This is awesome,
Leave me in the virtual world.
Yeah. And then eventually this mech comes through the ceiling, and he's firing rockets, and you just grab the rockets and throw them back. And that's the end of the demo. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've played in a while.
I love how like they suppose in like real life a rocket's coming at you at the speed of a rocket, and even if you slow down time, your hand slow down time. Even if you slow down time, wouldn't your hand be hitting the rocket real fast anyways, and probably make it go off?
Yeah. Well, like I say,
it's a game, Scott.
I also noticed afterwards I didn't have any health. So I was basically invincible.
Yeah.
And the enemies weren't necessarily like gunning me down. They were just sort of running around.
You were just shooting down like
just guns duct taped to their hands. Yeah.
There's like a lady like pushing a stroller, and Mitch just like
in the
this is awesome.
like destroying the stroller. The lady's just like.
And I think like the only reason they did that is because this demo they want everyone to just
they're giving you an experience. They're not giving you a game.
Yeah.
And then after the show, I watched a whole bunch of other VR stuff that they had there that I wasn't able to get into, and there's some really cool stuff. But Bullet Train is just awesome. There's a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube. You guys check it out. It's really cool.
Well, let me ask you something real quick. So you said you don't really see this as something that you think is going to be sitting in your living room?
Yeah. Okay. So as it stands, there was a whole bunch of cables going into the back, so I couldn't. I like looking around and being all like this, but you can't spin on the spot because you're going to get tangled up. And secondly, like, it's great and all, but every booth had a trash can next to it, just for people getting queasy after a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's because they haven't right now. This is the eye tracking thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you're sitting there, you have the screen, and if your eyes are looking left and right, you're not seeing left and right because it's just a static. It's a screen. When you move, it moves, right?
So you're still seeing across the screen with your eyes.
Yes, instead of looking this way and seeing that way. And so right now, in some of, and maybe that's what it is, because I think the Vive is one that has actually implemented eye tracking, which I've been told is just like incredible because you can look to the side and actually see that direction.
Yeah.
Instead of having to move your head. And so it gives a more natural feeling so you don't get sick as quickly. So that's the newest one that I've heard about. I haven't been able to play with it yet, but that's a new thing to help people actually play more than 20 minutes without wanting to puke.
And to be honest, like, so moving around the world, you have to teleport. And almost all of the games I've seen that are first person in Oculus or VR, you have to teleport.
Yeah.
And it's either like a portal ripoff or it's like just picking a point and then going to it and like walking to it. So I'm like, I hope this doesn't replace, like, this isn't a new trend in gaming where like the analog stick is the way to do it. Because I think
right now we're in, like, you have to look at it in the whole. So like the thing is, right now you're in like the demo stage. Like they're not even like necessarily selling these like straight out to everyone. Like, yeah, people have dev kits and things like that, but they're still kind of in the demo stage. So people are just trying to fill out the software. I think even when the games do launch, I think it's still going to be a lot of this kind of stuff at first, like games where it's like you're just kind of interacting with things in the viewport, but we're really not going to understand the language of how to build games in VR until we crack a few eggs, until we break,
Well, there's the
break
issue
some
is,
rules
like,
and try and start figuring out what can we do and what can't we do.
It's a transitional phase. Right now, they don't have anything walking because if you're walking around with this equipment, they have you tethered. Like, if you do the Void, right? The Void you can walk through.
It's a battery pack on it.
It's a battery pack. It's actually a laptop on your backpack that this is connected to, so you can move around, right? But in a demo like that, you have a confined space that they can't necessarily have you walking out of because you're attached to this thing. There is a couple of VR sets right now that you can set up. I think it's in a 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 space that you can move around in, and it actually has motion capture, so it sees where you are in the space.
Yeah,
so you can move forward.
They had that there actually. It was one guy was in a mocap suit with a basketball, and the other guy was in an Oculus, and they would bounce the ball back and forth and shoot hoops and that. And in the guy's Oculus, it was a 3D character motion captured.
Yeah.
But to the other person that was bouncing, it was just some guy with an Oculus headset.
Yeah.
So they're combining the two, which is really cool.
Yeah, but I think the biggest issue with like making it a consumer grade product where you can actually move around in this is, say you plug it in, it is battery packed and it's Bluetooth or something to your machine, right? How much room do you have in your living room?
Yeah.
Before you're going to run into your TV, into your wall.
I kind of feel
you know
like,
what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you look at those kind of things, and there's like ways around that. They have the weird little treadmill thing where you walk on it.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
They were there as well, and it's the one they had was. It wasn't a treadmill. It was just a smooth.
It's a bunch of rollers.
It's like a big pad.
It's almost like you had those roller shoes, you know, that they, and they were just rolling on the spot and rotating and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. But again, I was looking at the actual gameplay itself, and it was a little basic. It was supposed to be like a Halo deathmatch, right? And they were just running on spot, and they were sweating buckets and turning and like shooting and ducking and diving, but like the gameplay didn't reflect any of that. It was still those static animations that it was registering what they're doing and then interpreting an animation for that.
Well, here's
not necessarily their full movement.
Replicating
like this guy was like ducking and doing this, and the guy was just doing this. You know?
Yeah, I think ultimately the idea is not to have your own hollow, deck on at your house. That's not the point. I mean, like, yeah, maybe at some point we will get to that where everyone will have a room in their house dedicated just to like VR. But at this point in time, no infrastructure, no anything is there to build up. So I think right now the best way to view VR as real as possible is bringing it to a place like the Void. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's actually a really good way to approach. Like, I think the industry should move towards like places like that, because imagine we were all kids in the 90s and 80s and stuff, and so where did we go to play games? Not all of us had games at our house. We would go down to the arcade, right? Yeah. And it was like a social like thing, like, and we go down to the arcade because one of the games were awesome and they had
an experience. What it is.
Yeah, it was like an experience and like a social experience too, like to be around people, and like it's as close to we have now as online was back then, because we couldn't interact like from people in different countries, but we could at least interact with everyone in our town and have scoreboards on all the games and have all our things, and that worked. And then when consoles started happening at home for cheaper, everyone was buying them there. There was like an era of like from Super Nintendo to like N64, PlayStation 2, where it was silent. No one talked to anyone. It was like very antisocial gaming experience. Unless
you were playing Phantasy Star Online.
And if you were the only person playing Phantasy Star Online. Unless, because the other people were probably playing, what was it, Final Fantasy 11 or something.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was way before that. That was on PS2 and the Dreamcast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then it kind of opened that socialness back up in the Xbox 360 and now Xbox One and PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, all those. And it's like, great, now we can talk socially about games and stuff, but realistically, that kind of gaming is suitable for console gaming, and VR is not console gaming. So it shouldn't be approached in the same setting. I think that they should have its own place to go, and people should interact.
Well, it's really not
like
going to get accepted on like a massive consumer grade level until you have it built as an experience like that, because people are going to be a lot more wary of bringing this thing into their house at the budget, at the price point that it's at right now.
Yeah.
Especially with the experience that
like
you'll
two
have
consoles.
Yeah, it's two consoles just for that. Plus, you need two consoles to run it, you know what I mean? So it's this whole thing where the experience is kind of lackluster because you don't have everything in your house to be able to do what they're showing they can do, like on their R&D. So building places like the Void where you go and you have this really cool experience, that's when you're going to get more money being pumped into this stuff, and then it's going to become smaller, it's going to become easier to port to like a home user level.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And once it does that, I could see everybody having this in 10, 15 years in their house.
Yeah,
but it's not happening this year or next year.
Like the other thing that I found, like it was weird because it felt like my hands. Because I was tilting my head, and the animations were fairly smooth on the virtual hands. Like gripping something, I was like, oh, that is my hand. Like, and because you're holding something anyway, it's like, so that was kind of strange. Like, it felt like I was reaching through the screen and messing with the objects.
Yeah.
The only thing that I found was it was kind of a lonely experience. Like, just being like kind of closed off and like no one else can really see what I'm doing, and like especially if I had it in my home, like no one would be able to see what I'm doing, and like they had they had like a TV showing you what I was doing, like for people that wanted to watch. But like I was like, this is kind of a lonely gaming experience. Like at least if I'm playing on a single player but on a TV, like anyone can come by and watch.
This is still like I said, it's the early stages of it. It's still kind of in that console stage where it's not really live with everyone else. It's still very like singular player. Mm-hmm. But couldn't you imagine seeing, like, they're already playing with the idea of like tracking your eyes to move around, and it's like, okay, that's really brilliant. I actually didn't really think about that, but that's a huge player in the way of how you react with real life. Yeah. But like, how cool was it when Xbox and PlayStation started including mics into their remotes, and you could like talk to people online? It's like, that was cool to be able to talk to people. The same thing needs to be integrated with this. Is I think probably a full facial capture thing that can at least track your mouth and track your voice. So like if you shoot somebody, like in the game, the other people playing online should be able to see your face and be like, ha ha ha, gotcha. That's the whole point of this. Is that you should be able to like live, like interact. Interacting with people, and people should be able to see you and know everything, not have to like guess what you're doing. Like even in games now, they do like people, after they kill somebody, they'll like go over to the body and like crouch by it and stuff, and to kind of like show, to be like, yeah, see, I owned you and stuff. But if they could actually like showboat, like football players do, in game, however they want, that would be cool.
That would be cool. Like there was a couple of things. I didn't get to try them, but it's like little. It's almost like Wii Sports, but in VR, right? So everyone's playing table tennis or playing card games. But I was like, it just feels lonely to me. It just feels kind of sad, you know? And and the other
kind
thing
of sad.
Well, I do like, and the other thing is like, I watched a lot of people VR because almost every booth was VR, and I was kind of a little bit embarrassed for them. Like I was like, oh,
watching them just act all funky and everyone's all,
like because they're like this, they're like. No, this, and it's like,
when you were pumping that shotgun, you didn't look very
cool. I know. I admit I probably look like an idiot. Like I saw some footage that Ange took of me, and I was like, oh god, that's not so great. Like just because I'm
posting that on Pixel Wankers. No.
Yeah.
In your head, you're like, yeah, I'm awesome.
Yeah, like I say, like I was like, this is freaking cool. Like, I am in a gunfight. This is awesome. But like. In reality, I look like an idiot, and so I was like, it reminds me of when the Wii first came out and everyone's flicking remotes and looking like
smashing their TVs.
Yeah. It's that sort of thing, and I was like,
Did you know anyone who actually smashed their TV?
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, for real. I didn't
smash
smash
your
mine.
TV?
No, I didn't smash mine. I was smart enough. I did put the wristband on mine. Not everybody's that smart.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. This is a huge thing.
All right.
Cost. Right? Mm-hmm. So when the Oculus released, they said there's going to be 800, something like that?
Oculus is 600.
600.
I don't know.
So PlayStation is the cheap and cheerful. It's like $400.
Yeah, they released the
price.
But
you need a camera, the PlayStation Eye, and then the Move controllers.
But the camera's $20 or $30, and the
controllers
are like $30.
And then how much is the PlayStation?
Yeah.
PlayStation 400, right?
Right, and then the VR on top of it's 400.
For the whole thing, I guess you're looking at about 800, right?
Right.
But Oculus, it's 600 for the thing plus another $1,000 in software to get on your computer.
The software is nothing, but it's a matter of
like hardware and software.
They're not going towards your like sit down console players, right? The Oculus is
again,
not
like
that
it's not
crowd.
it's not there.
It's not that crowd at all. The people that are going to play it are people that are either developers or they're hardcore gamers. Hardcore gamers will spend a couple grand on a machine, and so for them to buy an $800 thing is like buying a sweet racing wheel that costs you $600 because you play one game that uses this. Those are hardcore gamers that they're aiming for because they know that that's the crowd that's actually going to purchase this right now.
And then
again, you have to think about I think 3D printing kind of fits in that same thing. When 3D printing came out. I have to admit, I was one of these people, and I think probably a lot of you guys were too. It's like, that's cool, but why would I need to buy that? That's just going to make me a little toy or something. I don't see a purpose to that until someone prints a gun or prints a car or, which they have,
Yeah.
And so it's like, wow, this thing can be more expensive. And I do like making toys. We're talking about doing that now with the printer.
Yeah.
But I think the people that invested in 3D printers to get them to the point that they are now were the kind of people that are going to invest in the
I
VR.
Had two prototypes. And I'm still
MakerBots?
waiting. Yeah, and I'm still waiting for the Peachy printer, which was a Kickstarter like 3 or 4 years ago, and they're finally getting parts in to ship it right now.
Oh, cool.
Wonderful.
It's taken forever, but I'll be happy when it gets here, and then we'll have another printer at the studio.
Yeah, that'd be
do
sweet.
stuff here.
Well, and even like laser cutters, that they're not 3D printers, but you can treat them kind of like 3D printers. But the community, the idea behind that was the community had to build that up. The people who were enthusiasts who wanted to machine their own tools and machine their own things, paid for that for the rest of us. We're all reaping the benefits now that it's starting to become more popular because of those people.
Yeah.
Same thing with VR.
Yeah.
It's going to be the extremist.
Well, and the other one is the Vive, which is like the Cadillac of VR, right? So it's.
I haven't seen much on the Vive.
You've got like.
I like that term because Cadillac is just kind of like, nowadays, but everyone's like, it's
all
the
right,
Cadillac.
Well, it's the Ferrari of like, whatever, it's the sports
It's a car,
cars. Yeah. So they got like touchpads on the hand control. So I watched a game today where some guy had a revolver and he flicked the revolver so the chainmaker went out and then he rotated on the touchpad and he put the bullets in and he flicked it back up. And I was like, that is sweet. Yeah. That's so cool. But like, so that's Valve. I think they're twinning with Steam or something.
Oh, really?
The Vive, yeah. I keep
No,
seeing it
it's
every time I log in. But so that's $800 for that one. So that's like
that might be the one I was thinking about. That
yeah. But yeah, it's just the way it is. I mean, when the Xbox One came out, it was like $500, right, or something ridiculous.
I don't remember the price. It was 5 or
It was
6.
pretty expensive just for the console.
Yeah.
And now you can get it for
300.
250 or 300. Yeah, it's pretty cheap. But all in all, the event was great. Like, I highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in games, just to go and chat to some people. And
so it's really great walking around the floor and talking with devs, but you weren't able to get into any of the.
I didn't get into too many. I got into the ILM one
And these were just the mixers, though. They
just the
weren't
mixers,
okay,
yeah.
no
Well, this is
panels.
even in they had like a career center,
Mhm.
so you go and people are hiring. Like Avalanche Studios was there, not local Avalanche, like
Oh, okay.
the guys that do Just Cause and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they had the Temple Run guys hiring.
Are they not the same? They're not the same company.
No, that's Avalanche is Disney.
Yeah.
Disney owns it, but are they a different part of the company, or is it totally two different?
Two different
I think
companies
it's
do.
two different. Yeah.
Yeah, these guys were in
Avalanche
like
sells Avalanche.
these guys were in like New York or something based.
Yeah, these guys here were the Road Rash crew and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
back in the day.
And then they also had like the people that do Temple Run were hiring, and I think some, maybe not Destiny. I see a whole bunch of companies just hiring. You go and you pitch your portfolio and stuff. So if you're looking to get into games, like definitely go and check it out. The ticket was $200 for just the regular pass just to get in, and that does get you into the career stuff, you know. But there was a lot of panels there that I'd love to have seen.
Yeah.
Like there was one about like the music in The Last of Us, and I was like, oh god, I'd love to get into there, but
Yeah.
that's for the really expensive pass, you know.
Me and you should do CTN
Yeah.
sometime,
Yeah.
because that was awesome last time I went to CTN.
Do what now?
CTN is like the animation expo down in Burbank.
Huh.
And it is awesome. It's just like a hotel. It's like a little thing, but like everyone who in animation is just walking around, just like chilling and stuff, and like sitting outside smoking. It's like, oh, hey, wow, those are like my idols. Wow.
It's just
like
the animators themselves.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and so like there's like panels and stuff that you can go to that are free, but there's also paid ones, which are more like classes and stuff. But yeah, they'll have like Andreas Deja, you know, walking around and did, you know, all sorts of Disney animation, you know, Eric Goldberg. I stayed in line. I was standing and talking to John Musker, like who directed like, you know, a ton of Disney movies. Like, you know, I'm like, wow, this is nuts. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And they're just chilling. They're just like normal, you know, guys just talk to them. Like, wow, this is weird. But
Yeah. That's cool,
It was
dude.
really cool. We
Yeah.
should do that sometime.
Definitely.
I'd be
Um,
down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great time. It was a really cool time. I didn't do any sightseeing, unfortunately, but I've been before, so you know, it wasn't so bad.
How long were you down there for?
We left on the Tuesday, drove back on the Friday, so I was at the con for 2 days. To be honest, it was almost like the perfect amount of time. Like by the time because my feet were aching, I was like kind of fed up. It was just kind of, there wasn't really much more for me to do there, like unless I had appointments and stuff. So it was a good amount of time to go. Plus Fridays is the student day, and it's like $10 for a ticket, so it just gets flooded with students.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of glad I'm done, you know. Like, so, but yeah, definitely next year look into it.
Cool.
It was a way cool time.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I'd be down to go. I know that just because we can hear them in the next room, the guys from Octothorpe, they had somebody go down and visit all the panels and whatnot. So I want to talk with them to see kind of how that went. Because I know some of the panels were really good, but of course I wasn't able to go either. So.
Well, and it's weird because like I don't really know too many game developers like names and faces. But listening to that podcast on the way back that was there, they were interviewing like a whole bunch of people just off the floor, and there were so many companies that I had no idea were there, and I was just like, oh my god, like I love
Probably
those games.
just
like,
walked right past it.
yeah, more than likely, like you know. But each badge had your company and your name, so it was a nice little icebreaker to be like, oh cool, I really like your game, blah blah blah. You know, so
That's the thing that drives me crazy. So when I was in Miami at Kidscreen, you'd be at these points where like you go there to meet somebody. You schedule meetings. You're like meeting point A, B, or C or whatever, and you're standing there, and nobody's looking anybody in the eyes. They're all walking around like this, just like looking name tags, and you're like, my eyes are up here, dude.
I didn't have that trouble so much because a lot of games industry people and gamers are kind of awkward anyway. So they're sort of like, hey, how's it going? Like,
Oh man, you want to hear a really awkward story about like not? I was at
Awkward story from
Yeah.
Scott. I'm in.
so I was at this is like professional awkwardness. So I was at San Diego Comic Con when I used to live down in San Diego, and I wanted to go to the portfolio review. So I got my portfolio together, and I was sitting there waiting all day to get I signed up on the list and then sat there all day to wait for the people to get there. And like Nickelodeon didn't show up, and Cartoon Network didn't show up, and like all these big studios that I was hoping for. And so I just signed on like everybody, not knowing the studios, but hoping that someone would let me in.
Yeah.
Talk to them. And id Studios, the guys that do like Doom and stuff. I signed up for theirs, and I didn't know that's the studio, so I just signed up for it. And I sat down with the guy, and he's like, "Oh, so you know who we are?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "So what games do you like of ours?" I'm like,
Midway?
I don't know what games you made. He's like, have you not played Doom? Have you not played the, I think Quake, all these other ones. And I'm like, no, I've played those. Sorry, I didn't know that it was your guys' studio that did it. And he was like kind of offended that I didn't know his studio. And I'm like,
It's like, you signed up to talk to me and you have no idea who I am.
It was so embarrassing. It was like the first interview I ever got to do with like anyone in the industry. So I felt so mortified, but it was
So how'd it go?
They hired me on the spot.
Turns out it was Midway, but they were just posing as they're like, okay, he's not going to work for us, guys. It's fine.
I know all your games. So yeah, it was just embarrassing.
Yeah,
I mean, didn't do my research. I mean, I knew who they were, but I didn't really think about the studio that was connected to it.
Well, a lot of these studios are like, they're such an odd name or just so strange. I'm like, I can't remember what they've done.
Yeah. You recognize their games, but
yeah, even Avalanche, I was like, oh, they're in Salt Lake, cool. And then I started to talk to them, and then like, oh yeah, we're in New York, and I was like, not the Avalanche I'm thinking of then, is it? So yeah, there's a lot of confusion there,
All right.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Should we talk about some schlock? Schlock it out.
Let's talk about your schlock.
I got some Netflix schlock, and Mitch has some Netflix schlock. Actually, yours isn't schlock.
No,
yours
mine's
is
not
good.
schlock. Yeah.
Mine's definitely schlock.
I'm interested.
Let's see Scott's schlock.
Okay.
Right, no. It's a sweet tie though.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Space Invaders.
Yeah.
So I was on Netflix searching through stuff, and I see Pee-wee's Holiday, and I go, that can't be a real thing, right?
Oh, the new one, yeah.
I was like, did Mr. Bean and Pee-wee get together and do a holiday?
Bearing in mind, Daredevil was released on the same day.
I know.
And between the two, you picked Pee-wee's bloody...
Well, here's the thing. I was working on Sculpt for Steve and you.
Yeah.
Working on that sculpture. I didn't want to sit and watch something that was intense.
Yeah.
So I just wanted some crap to put in the background,
Yeah,
pretty much. So I was like, okay, what is this about? I click the commercial and I watch it. I'm like, this looks just like Pee-wee's Big
right
Adventure.
Up your alley is what it was. You're
No,
like,
okay.
hell
So
yes.
here's the thing about Pee-wee. I love Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Sure.
I don't know about you guys.
Oh yeah.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, awesome, great for me. I liked Tim Burton. I like Danny Elfman. They did an awesome job with that, and that was my first introduction to Pee-wee Herman. Then Pee-wee Herman 2, whatever that was, Pee-wee's Circus came out. And I don't know if you remember that movie. It had a
Pee-wee's
pig
Circus.
that stuck its nose into a door, and then it could open up. It was kind of like a mix between Pee-wee's Playhouse and Big Adventure, and it was a mess. It was awful.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that was an awful show. I don't ever want to see that again. And Pee-wee's Playhouse I didn't like it either. I mean, the puppets were kind of funny, but it's just kid stuff. So
This is kid stuff. Way out of your league.
I'm a sophisticated adult.
I've always been with my Space Invader time.
Let me watch Pee-wee's Holiday and critique it. So I turned on Pee-wee's Holiday expecting like hopefully it looked like it was trying to pretty much remake Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like he goes on some sort of road trip. He meets like some like thugs who do something with him. He basically he's on some sort of mission. He ends up like going on like an airplane thing. It's kind of weird. So it had all these kind of like main points the first one has. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. I watch him like, one, guy's old. I mean, he was a man when he did Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but now he's an old man. He's got some wrinkles. He doesn't have quite the voice to, get it out there. But it got good reviews, and I'm watching this. I'm like, I gotta finish this whole thing, watch the whole thing, and it was awful. Like it wasn't funny. It wasn't like it didn't have the charm Pee-wee's Big Adventure like has like a little bit of like edge to it. This one was trying to do an edge, but it was awkward edge. It's like randomly he gets stuck into an orgy with these weird ladies who kidnap him.
What?
It was
That's
weird.
not what I would
That's
expect
odd,
from a
dude.
Pee-wee movie.
And then he gets like he goes to this like farmer guy's house, and all his the farmer's daughters want to date him. And that was probably the funniest bit. Like they're all trying to sneak into his bedroom.
Yeah.
And he's like, get out, But it's like, okay, but it was. I cannot believe that they put money into making this thing to just put
That's
out
interesting.
garbage.
I would have totally
Netflix usually puts out good quality stuff.
Yeah.
So I was expecting them to
I
go
would
back
have
to
totally
something
thought it
decent.
was up your alley. I totally would have thought it would have been something you enjoyed. Because I haven't watched it yet, but I did. I looked at the preview and I was like, that looks terrible. I'll watch it because it's Pee-wee. And the preview to the original one was essentially the same thing. I was like, all right, yeah. I'll give
It does
that.
start out with like one of the weirdest kind of funny, freaky sequences. If you like Mac and Me, the beginning sequence is like Pee Wee Herman meets Mac and Me.
All right.
But that's Scott's Pee Wee's
Scott's
Adventure.
Pee-wee.
Scott's Pee-wee Schlock.
So
that's funny.
How about you?
Well, I was having a fantastic time with Daredevil.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It has a lot of flaws, and I won't, because it's really its own show. Like I don't want to spend too long talking about it. But the Punisher is the coolest thing put to screen. It's so great. Like, there's a surprise cameo in like 2 or 3 of the episodes, which I was not expecting at all because it
Is
was
this Spider-Man?
no,
Oh.
it's not.
He's
So,
coming back.
like I don't want to ruin it too much because there's a lot of people watching it right now, and I don't
Yeah.
want to like spoil it. But it's sort of like it builds up to this awesome like mid-season thing, and then it kind of loses momentum, and then it kind of has really awesome few episodes, and then a crappy end episode.
You know what we call that?
What?
The Jessica Jones in it.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was thinking. Well, and also Daredevil season 1, like the last episode didn't live up to as good as some of the other stuff in.
Yeah.
Like some of the fight scenes, they do a single take fight scene again, like they did in season 1, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then the ending fight scene looks like something out of Power Rangers, and I was like, you just did this really awesome fight scene earlier on in the season.
They
Why
I
lost
don't
their
know.
budget.
I don't know what you mean by you're disappointed by it looking like Power Rangers. I love Power Rangers.
Yeah, but this was like full on, like obvious, like choreographed, like their punches are missing and they're flipping, and it's just sort of like, what the hell, like Daredevil changes his outfit because it looked god awful in the first one, so that's it was end of the season outfit looked really bad. He had like a bulbous head and everything. They slimmed all that down, made that all look good. They gave him his full on batons and grapple hook thing, so he's basically Daredevil from the comics. And Elektra's in it, and she's not so great. She's like one of my biggest gripes.
She's not crying though, is she?
No, but she's kind of she's a distraction in like Matt Murdock's life, and she's also a distraction in the TV show, because she's like just padding, and it's like, oh, for goodness sake. and it's a great.
We're not spoiling anything.
No, I
right
don't.
now.
No, I'm trying to keep it light because I don't want to spoil anything. But then after you finish it, this is a really cool thing that I thought Netflix did. Netflix unlocks a trailer for Luke Cage, and the trailer pops up, and Luke Cage looks awesome. It looks really cool. This is like a 20-second
Clip.
teaser, and it's
That's
a bit
cool.
like
It kind of reminds you, I guess, of the ending of like
end
Marvel
credits.
movies.
Yeah.
The credits
It's
and
basically what it is. And I'm sure you'll find it online if you don't want to sit through the whole season. But it was interesting that Netflix was like, okay, now that you finish this, here you go, sort of thing, rather than just having it outright.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they know that they're speaking to their fans at that point.
Yeah.
Also, when you finish Pee-wee's Holiday, you get a preview
The
of
Netflix turning off.
In the theater.
Oh dear.
Pee-wee's Superhero Adventure.
Yeah. So I don't want to go into too much detail because I do want to spend a long time talking about it, and I'm going to ruin it if I do.
I know you and Steve sat in here for a couple hours the other day.
We did, yeah. We were
just giggling like schoolgirls.
Just getting it out. Just getting it out there, you know. So it's a great show. Stick with it. And I think like season 2 is a lot better than season 1 of Daredevil. I also think this season is better than Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Now they're two different feelings because Jessica Jones is all about dealing with abuse and is a bit more liberal, and Daredevil's like straight comic book masturbation-y fantasy. Like it's just sort of like full on. Well, it is.
Like you like.
Yeah,
Don't you laugh?
Straight comic book
it's
masturbation.
it's like dark
You
and
called
gritty.
that a Sears catalog.
It's like
It's like you're reading the quotes from Pee-wee.
it's it's Batman Begins. It's like dark and gritty. It's bloody. It's like a troubled superhero. Like he's sort of like brooding and angry, and it's just sort of like teenage power fantasy a little bit. Like Elektra comes in, she's like, you know, this sexy woman, and it's just like, oh come on, like it's like Sin City.
Yeah.
You know, meets Batman Begins, but
Meets Power Rangers.
meets Power Rangers at the end. Ninjas, and I was just like, oh,
Okay,
come on.
since we're talking about Marvel, I'll bring up the lawsuit.
See, I don't know anything about this dude.
You never
so-
heard this? Okay,
What is
so
this?
like, because I talked to Mitch earlier, that's why he knows what I'm talking about. But okay, so premise the story. Basically, I guess we could look up the guy's name, but his name's like
We're not gonna look it up.
Isaac
It's fine.
Putman or something like that.
Okay.
He's the guy that owns Marvel, right? Like he's the head of Marvel.
Okay.
He bought it when like they were going out of business or something. You know, liquidation sale.
Heroes half off.
but before Disney got hold of it, he bought it, and now they're doing really well. But they want to like, from what it sounds like with all these stories I've heard about him, they want to like get rid of him. They don't like him being around. They've like banned him from like touching any scripts on movies or anything like that. Like straight up, we don't want you doing anything, dude, because this guy's like a loose cannon. He's had like a ton of lawsuits in the past from like being super violent to people, like just like he's a nut. He's just a straight up like crazy guy. Like the picture that he has online of his face is a picture from like 30 years ago, I guess, because he doesn't let people photograph him. I don't know if it's like they'll steal my soul, or if it's just like a really ugly dude. Like in the picture, he just looks like a normal 80s looking businessman guy, but like a villain from
In his prime.
you know, an 80s TV show about kids losing their baseball field. But so like he got in trouble because he had some back and forth with this lady. I can't remember if it was like his neighbor or something like that. But basically, he ended up getting her email, and he started emailing her all these harassments, like I have a bullet with your name on it, and like I'm gonna kill you, you know, from all these things. And she just like, I don't think it was a big deal. Something happened, and so she got pissed off because he's like threatening to kill her, and he's just this like crazy weird dude. So she said a lawsuit against him, said, okay, this guy's being violent, and I want to sue him for this. Well, because he sent it from Marvel's emails, the state's now saying, well, we want to seize all of your emails and make them public view. How cool will that be for us fans of Marvel? We'll be able to read through all
Dude.
of the CEO's emails.
That's danger zone because it just
Yeah.
sounds like he's a nut, and the stuff that could be involved in his emails would be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Well, imagine
If
not
anybody is-
only like sleazy stuff. I'm sure
Oh,
he has
sure.
tons of sleazy stuff in there.
But
But
all the
like
actual
Marvel
stuff,
spoilers, like movie releases, all
See,
these
I-
things that we
I
like.
don't-
Disney is crapping their pants, like literally crapping their pants. Like I heard that they're freaked out about this because this can't happen for them. They're like, no,
Yeah.
So
I get that, and I honestly don't think it would be a good thing. Like,
No, it
'Cause-
wouldn't be. It'll be fanboys totally loving it though, just seeing
Yeah.
spoilers and whatnot. It's so weird.
it
'cause
would ruin
it's-
it for
it's
the
like,
thing too. I'm sure there are like big spoilers
Oh,
that
yeah.
are in there.
People
And-
don't understand ever. I
And
worked in IT for a decade, and it's like, use your work email for work.
yeah,
You
yeah.
idiots. If you're gonna do something else, use your personal email address.
Like it would result in a lot of films getting cancelled or
Oh, yeah.
postponed, or even just rewritten.
Changed,
You
yeah.
know, like just completely rechange the schedule. And I'm kind of looking forward to what we got coming. You know, like I
Yeah.
don't want to like. I want the surprise. I want the excitement, and it would just ruin all that. You
Yeah.
know, but
No, it totally would.
I mean, they've already released their calendar for like the next 5
Yeah,
or
yeah.
6 years, So we already know what movies are coming down the pipeline. But I mean, I'm sure there are like
Things can
concept art. I'm
change.
sure there's like other stuff, scripts and things that have been passed down through there that people could just read. And I mean, am I gonna read the script to like, the next Thor movie or something? No, probably not. I'd rather see it as a movie.
Yeah.
It's meant to be a movie.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not that big of a fan. I hope people don't spoil it for others. But ultimately, I guess it is kind of an interesting case. I don't know. We'll have to see how it
I
pans
hope
out.
if there's a spoiler like that and there's like full scripts in his email, somebody takes those scripts and does like a stop motion animation at home, like and plays out this entire movie and just puts it on YouTube before the movie actually comes
Yeah.
out. That would be awesome.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Pigs and Wankers presents all the spoilers for Marvel.
Here's a spoiler for 2019.
So yeah, a little bit of news there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
How are we doing for time? Got a few
We're about
minutes?
an hour, actually. Yeah. Do you have
Okay.
anything you want to say?
I just
There's a
in-
card game. Your little
Sony's
thing.
card game?
PlayStation has a card game.
Dude, I am stoked for their card game.
I totally got it wrong. It was,
Did you see it when you were over at GDC?
no, they didn't have it.
Oh, don't lie.
It was like a card that they were.
I did. I
releasing
tell you
or
what, I did
something.
get. I got a deck of cards from Unity, so they had their logo on it.
No.
It was awesome, and
That's cool.
a yo-yo that lights up.
Of course, it's a game engine. They need a yo-yo,
Yeah.
right? I really want to just like buy a deck of cards that says Sony on it or something, and during a podcast we'll be like, Sony's deck of cards.
So we've got a lot of stuff we have to produce, guys. We have to produce all the spoilers from Marvel movies. We have to
Yeah.
produce Tent Simulator. We have to produce Bullet Train, Japanese Bullet Train Simulator. We've got our work cut out for us.
That's right.
As a sort of just on the weekends before and after GDC, Tim and I played the new Hitman,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was. I haven't played Hitman for a while.
Yeah.
So you played the ones.
I played all
after
of
I
them,
played,
and it's really cool.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
There's a
You
lot
watch all
of
the
fun.
movies too?
Tim
No,
the
he's
Elephant.
a fan. He
Hitman.
didn't want to ruin it.
Is the new one out? That new Hitman? I saw the trailer. It was like coming.
Yeah, it came out I think a month ago.
Oh.
No one saw it, I'm sure.
Oh well.
Coming soon to a streaming service in Bangladesh.
Yeah. So the new Hitman's awesome. It's really cool, super slick,
Yeah.
and really fun. You can do a whole bunch of really cool stuff in it.
Except it's online only, and we haven't figured out why that.
Yeah,
is a thing.
it's online only, right?
But it's
like,
single player.
Yeah. But you can't get any of the achievements or anything like in-game achievements or rewards unless you connect online.
Which is
And the
fun.
server right now is like super finicky because I've been playing games and it'll kick me out and it'll say you're offline. I'm like, cool. And then I'll just do the thing to unlock the achievement and I'm like, didn't get it because it kicked me off online. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
so that's the real thing that kind of sucks. But they're releasing level by level every few months, which is kind of interesting. But I was hoping just to get the whole thing, you know. So that's kind of cool. And then I I've been playing Twilight Princess HD, which is awesome, with the amiibo and everything. That's really fun. I also got Ocarina of Time the other day because it's super cheap now. It's $20 on 3DS.
Yeah.
And there was another thing I've been playing recently as well. Can't remember. Some other game. So yeah, I'll do like full-on reviews of them later. But just wanted everyone to know that's what's happening.
Awesome.
In the world of games.
Awesome.
Sweet deal.
Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Well, we don't think we ever post anything on Twitter, but
No, every time we post a podcast or a video, it goes on Twitter.
Oh,
So
it
really,
does.
we just all of our videos and podcasts go everywhere else. We're really the only place we talk to.
By the
people
way,
is on Facebook.
real quick shout out. My brother is doing he's one of the fans of the show, so shout out to Jeff.
One or two.
But he's
Dude,
also
Mitch's mom and your brother should get together for a Pixel Wanker party. It'd be awesome.
Their podcast would be more popular than ours. Dude, you know?
well, he's actually
Challenge.
he's doing a not a podcast but like Let's Plays for their channel's called like.
Oh, come on.
Oh, good job. This is a good shout out.
Nice.
It's called Control Y Gaming.
Control Y Gaming.
Yeah, and they've got one episode up. So if you guys want to check it out, it's just a fun little thing.
Sweet
Cool.
deal.
Dive will be on Steam very shortly, and also the Microsoft Store.
Did it get greenlit?
Not yet.
Not yet. So go.
We're a
help
hair's breadth away
greenlight
from
it.
getting it, so vote for us.
Yes.
Okay.
I have. Scott, have you?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you lying to me?
Yeah.
I know you.
And on that note,
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, all right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.